welcome back to Late Night Long Beach. I'm your host, Jen Lucas, and I'm so excited to dive into some more serious topics with you this season. Let's start off by talking about generations, or the reason why your parents can never be cool. For starters, there are many different breakdowns into who belongs into what generation. For argument's sake, we summed up 4 generations into 4 different categories. Those born between the years of 1946 and 1964 are considered baby boomers. Between 1965 to 1980 are Generation X, and between the years of 1981 to 1999 are the Millennials. And anyone born after the 2000s are the newest Generation Z. Each generation is different from the next in regards to its attitudes and traits, and right now we're at the point of interacting with one another in the workplace. This generation gap may cause some miscommunication and a difference between generations since society is constantly changing. Entrepreneur magazine published an article addressing the stereotype that some generations feel millennials to be the most challenging to manage. Both baby boomers and Generation X believe that millennials require closer supervision. They also think they're less result-driven in the workplace. Well, I guess working with millennials is like bring your kid to work day every day. Taking away the only good thing about being at work, not having your kids around. And that's just one of the many perceptions on millennials. Some generations view them as spoiled, needy, lazy, having poor work ethic, little respect for authority, as well as too self-centered, narcissistic, and lacking in social skills. Another perception of them is that they have become too dependent on technology, which has shortened their attention spans. So short, in fact, that according to research by Microsoft, our attention span has dropped to 8 seconds because of our attention to smartphones, which have endless information right at our fingertips. I don't know about you, but I definitely have an attention span longer than... Hold on. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh, we don't always have the best reputation among older generations, but let's not exclude them from the fun. They also have some not so great reputations. According to an article by the Minnesota Society of Certified Public Accountants, some may perceive baby boomers as the least adaptable with technology, which may cause difficulty if they want to resist change or if they're avoiding learning new skills. But before we get ourselves into more trouble by listing stereotypes, we have our guest series segment of tonight called Across Generations. Our first guest of the night is a self-proclaimed expert on the baby boomer generation. Everyone give a warm welcome to Babe B Boomer. Hello, Mr. Oomer.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
It's a pleasure, Jen.
Great. Well, how old are you?
Older than you.
How old are you actually?
Did I stutter?
No, you didn't. Okay, well, let me try to get some info out of you. What were you looking for in a career when you were first searching for a job?
Anything that paid. I got a good job in the mine. Age 18, that was 40 years ago. 40 years strong. Working that mine, coal mine. That's what it was. Coal.
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 Sounds like a lot of routine there.
Yeah, I like a good routine. In my old age, it keeps me wry. Good routine.
Well, according to the Minnesota Society, you had very long work hours, like 80 hours a week, I think it was actually. How did that make you feel?
Feels good, Jen. Feels real good. You get home, your back's sore, you get to eat your wife's good cooking, and you get to go to sleep and do it all over again.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty great. But do you know how to do other things like do you know how to use a computer?
Don't need to. Typewriter works just good.
But what about if you make typos? How does that even work?
I don't make mistakes, Jen.
What about, okay, synonyms? Like, I need that thesaurus for everything.
That's what dictionaries are for.
How do you feel about the millennial generation?
Terrible. Just terrible. They're with their Insta chats and Snapograms. I don't know. Look at right there. Taking a selfie right there. I didn't fight 5 years in Vietnam to watch my grandchildren take selfies. I'll be right back, Jen. I need to teach this man a lesson.
Okay, well, thanks for dropping by, Mr. Oomer. Now, unlike Mr. Oomer, when it comes to baby boomers, you'd be surprised to know they're actually pretty tech savvy. Let's not forget that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs belong to the baby boomers generation. If you haven't noticed, they have taken over Facebook. Over I think it's over 56% of baby boomers use Facebook over any other social media outlet. That's a lot of seniors knowing a lot about your life, which is why we don't really use Facebook anymore. For those that are 55 and older, 68% of them use more than one device, ranging from phones, tablets, computers, etc. And although this generation was born before certain technological advances, they have adapted to the ever-changing world of today. So the next time your Nana calls you asking how to fix her printer, she probably just wants to hear her Snugglebutt's voice one last time before her hearing aid battery dies. Then there's Generation X. The MNCPA also addressed the stereotype for Gen X and how they are perceived as the most cynical. They grew up in an era of institutions built by traditionalists and improved by baby boomers, which then fell to pieces, which caused a skeptical view on the world. In the workplace, they're seen as a generation to always question or poke holes in the ideas of baby boomers and millennials. And to debunk more Generation X stereotypes, let's move on to our next guest, Trent McGrunge. Hello, Trent. Would you like me to call you Mr. McGrunge?
Mr. McGrunge was my father's name. I don't like my father.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. So Trent it is.
Trent.
How do you view this world that we live in, Trent?
Dark, abysmal.
Okay. Well, what is your greatest fear?
Loneliness.
Like being alone?
No, the emotion itself. Loneliness.
Well, that sounds very sad.
It is.
Are you very lonely all the time, Trent? Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any animals, any pets at home to keep you company?
No.
Well, I know for me, I'm a middle child in my family. And how do you feel about being called the middle child of generations?
What is that? Middle child. It's just another label, man. It's just a label to keep the government in check. Have the government keep us in check. Keep us, the sheeple, in check. They like labels. I don't like labels.
The sheeple. Did
The
you just
sheeples.
combine sheep
Sheep
and people?
and people.
That was really good. I like that.
Yeah, you can take that. That's yours.
But I'm sorry you don't care.
I don't care.
All right, Mr. Well, it looks like you have a lot going on your plate, Trent, but thank you so much for coming out today.
I don't even know. I don't even know why I don't know why I bother anymore. Thanks for nothing, Jen.
All right, Trent, thank you for being on our show. And to wrap up Generation X, according to the West Midland Family Center, they are currently in the best positions in the job market. As baby boomers retire, Gen X are expected to step up and fill in the leadership roles that boomers will leave behind. And with that being said, let's move on to the millennial generation with our own millennial expert, Miles Leginal. Hi, Miles. Wait, no, oh, no. Follow my voice right over there. Oh, sit down right there. Good. What's up, Miles? Why are you wearing that thing?
Hey, Jen.
Yeah.
Didn't see you there.
I can tell you have this big, what is this?
It's a VR headset. Yeah, it brings you to a different reality. It really gets the job done, though.
Really gets the job done.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of jobs, word on the street is that you're currently looking for one. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, is this a job interview? You have any openings?
Oh, no.
I can do anything. I'm overqualified. You have a LinkedIn? I'll send you my resume right now. I'll send you my resume right now.
I don't need your resume. I'm sorry. I don't even have a LinkedIn, actually.
So I don't have the job?
No, I can tell. Is it hard to get a job nowadays? Is that why you're asking this?
Of course. I have a PhD in art history and I still don't have a job. But Starbucks doesn't even want to hire me. Come on, man. I'll work at Starbucks. I have nothing against it. Yeah. You have a job? you have any hookups? I really need a job.
I know. It can be hard, huh? Well, but how do you feel about the new incoming generation, Generation Z? I mean, we're not the bottom of the food chain anymore, right? Or
Yeah.
how do you
Terrible.
feel about
Okay.
Generation Z?
Just mind if I Snapchat this?
Yeah, I don't.
What?
Can we do that?
Right there. Oh. Perfect. Ooh. Looks like there's a Pokestop right here. Whoa. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay, I'll keep these. These could come in handy. Okay, well, I'm glad that Miles was able to come visit us. And before we go, let's go ahead and dive into Generation Z. Well, it's expected that they will outnumber millennials, but Let's consider this. This is the first generation to actually grow up in the age of smartphones. Although many are still teenagers or kids, they will follow behind our steps and will be the new future. A major difference that's been noted, according to the New York Times, is that Generation Z gravitates towards safer career choices. Many students are choosing majors that appear safer and more pragmatic. These major differences show the contrast between millennials and what is now Generation Z. And just like that, our kids are going to be just like our parents. Not cool. Now let's bring from Generation Z, Mason.
We actually don't have time for that.
All right, scratch that. I mean, let's cut to our On the Street correspondent, Chad Sahilan, asking college kids how they feel about being millennials.
Hey guys, this is Chad Dominic with Late Night Long Beach, and I'm interviewing people today about the millennial generation gap. So let's get to...
What's your Twitter? I need new followers.
At it's...
Can we do a selfie? Yes, you'll do.
Let's get to it. So we are talking about the millennial generation gap today.
Wonderful.
So first question, do you think the millennial generation is better than those of the past?
I think it's not really better, but I think we're different, and that's what makes us better.
Yes, because we have Justin Timberlake and Kanye West in the millennial.
I don't know if they're better per se.
I don't think any generation is really better or worse than any others, honestly. Humans all have their flaws. I think that the problem with the millennial generation is that there's so many of us.
Excuse me? Excuse me. Do you like being a millennial?
Yeah. I think we're living in the greatest time to be alive right now.
So, what would you say are the best qualities of your generation?
Bruh, the tech, man. Tech is lit. VR headset, lit. iPhone plus 7, all black, all everything, lit.
You know, I mean, I can find out anything I want on something in my pocket. I think it's pretty amazing.
Hoverboard, lit. Fitbit, lit. Apple Watch, lit. That cup that lets you know what you're drinking, like what liquid it is, like it lights up and it says water.
So it seems like you prefer to be a member of a different generation?
Honestly, I'd rather be in a hunter-gatherer tribe.
Ooh.
Living off the land, only taking what I need.
That thing is lit, man! Come on now.
What is the best single thing to come out of the millennials?
Spotify.
Yeah, guess we could tell that you're really into technology coming out lately.
Yeah.
Any qualities of that you'd like to spotlight?
Memes.
What is the best thing to come out of your generation?
The best thing, Justin Timberlake and Kanye West.
Are you not on Twitter, fam? Are you not on Twitter? Do you follow me? Do you follow me? Do you know my handle?
I don't know you. What do you think is the best thing to come out of the millennial generation?
Our free spirit, you know?
Twitter is dank with the memes. Arthur's fist, dank. Look at you, man. You're dressed up as Arthur. Show him that fist. Show him that fist right here.
I think you're pretty solid that you wouldn't want to prefer to be in another generation.
No. No, I mean, I think we're always moving forward.
Harambe? Dude, Harambe. Oh my God. Dude, when I get kids, when I get 5 or 4 of them, I'm just gonna sit them all around me one day. I'm gonna tell them about how, like, when they sniped Harambe, I went out and I completely just like whipped it out.
What is the best single thing to come out of the millennials?
That's a tough one.
What events or accomplishments do you think your generation will be remembered for?
Pull my VR headset. Oh. Ready? Right here. Bionic dab.
Honestly, just the use of the internet is amazing. I mean, I know people kind of abuse it, just to look up for like entertainment purposes. But I mean, just have that information in our fingertips, like that's amazing.
I'm done. Jen, this has been Chad.
Giving myself a concussion up in this.
Live from the Friendship Walk. Back to you at the studio.
Woo!
Welcome Welcome back to the show, where it's now time for our On Board Monologue, where we will discuss what exactly caused the job market to plummet to where it is today. In the past, a college degree was considered to be a minimum requirement to get an entry-level job, but over the years, the stakes have raised, requiring more experience for both part-time and full-time jobs. From 2007 to 2013, employment growth was 9% for those 55 to 64, and only 0.3%, yes, only 0.3% for those between the ages of 22 and 34. That's just as unfair as those toy claw machines at arcades. You study it, you visualize it, and you still can't get a firm grasp on that freaking minion. Just falls out. According to the 2013 census, millennials are 1/3 of the adult population and are the driving force in the economy for years to come. A growing population leads to more competition for high-paying jobs. In 1971, 20-year-olds made up about 16% of the low-income tier, but by 2015, that number is raised to 20%. This causes many workers to delay retirement to make up for lost income. Remember how your grandparents retired in like their 60s? Imagine how it's going to be like when we retire after we're dead. Inflation has caused the cost of living to increase at a rate wages cannot compete with. According to Goldman Sachs, a high school graduate made about 77% of what college graduates made in the 1970s. But today it has dropped to 62%. And that doesn't help the fact that student loans continue to rise with college tuition getting more and more expensive every year. The average student loan balance for 25-year-olds from 2003 to 2013 went up by 10 grand, or 10 Yeezys. College is an investment that many people are willing to risk, but it may not be the best move for everyone, like if you decided to start a Vine career right about now. The labor force has stayed the same for those not pushing or pursuing for a diploma. Unlike previous generations, millennials are less likely to work when enrolled in high school and college. They tend to focus more on the education before getting a job, and though this may help sharpen their skills, it's a contributing factor to the growing debt. For young workers between 18 to 34, the overall unemployment rate was 8.65% in September 2014. Although that number is still fairly high, the labor market is recovering faster than it ever has since the 80s. It is currently 3/4 of the way back on returning to pre-recession unemployment rates. As of September 2016, unemployment is down to 4.9%. Kind of like Sylvester Stallone's movie career. Great in the 80s, went downhill in the 90s, but gets an Academy Award nomination and he's back. After a typical 4 to 5 years of education, the job market is full of highly qualified candidates from Generation X, baby boomers, and millennials. This crowded job market makes an open position more valuable to job seekers and also diminishes the chances of a freshly graduated student to land the job. Seriously, like, I have to be an unpaid host for a college show because it looks good on my resume?
You can get paid less than nothing.
Well, another important economic factor to note, millennials entered the job market at the time of a housing bubble. This economic disaster caused credit card freeze, leading to mass unemployment. To make matters worse, the job market became crowded with recently laid off workers seeking a full-time or part-time position to offset the economic disaster. The only natural choice for a millennial was to pursue a bachelor's degree at an accredited higher learning institution. And although we are the most highly educated generation, we suffer the most economically. The Great Recession may be classified as over, however, its impact on the economy has continued to hinder the workforce. Those who entered the labor market from 2007 to 2009 may still face substantial earning losses that will continue over a decade, hurting recent college graduates the most. It's like getting kicked in the crotch. The pain goes away soon, but it'll come back to haunt you when you try to start a family. We must also consider the value of a balanced schedule. For older generations, work-life balance has lower priority than job security. This translates to preference towards those willing to work more than 40 hours and having a minimal social life. Millennials tend to demand more flexible schedules and the opportunity to work from home because we can't even. Many would say the reason for higher unemployment is that younger generations are much more picky when it comes to job choice. According to the Workflow Management Coalition, millennials have 13 different factors, like being challenged by their job, as long as we don't have to wake up before 9 a.m. Baby boomers want to make a contribution to pre-existing ideas where millennials want to make a difference in the world. Again, not before 9 a.m. Nonetheless, both want to find a company that will allow them to showcase their skills in the best way possible. Take it from Kevin O'Rourke, who co-founded Monday Creations right after graduating college. His favorite phrase about the situation is that millennials just start companies because they're too lazy to get real jobs. Many startups fail because those who run it may not put in the work. But because O'Rourke and the rest of his so-called lazy friends continue to come up with creative solutions, their marketing agency has become their career. This shows that you will learn more by developing your own projects than working on ones assigned to you. So maybe professors should just let us decide on what to do for our own final projects. Like, what? What do you mean I can't do my own version of Drunk History? Best show ever. Historically, most people employed would abandon a job if it meant obtaining one with a better wage. However, millennials are tending to stay longer with each of their employers due to job security. And while this may benefit new workers, it also reduces open opportunities for those still looking for a job. The unemployment period has become longer for more people as a result. Think about it like showing up to Disneyland midsummer in the middle of the day, all the fast passes are taken, most of the rides are broken down, so you're stuck waiting over an hour for It's a Small World with no churro. Horrible. All worst case scenario there. As millennials, we strive to find positions that will bring satisfaction and allow them to express creativity. According to Forbes, millennials are highly sought over as they bring change to the community. They demand an opportunity to do good while making a living. In return, future employers tend to offer loan repayment, tuition reimbursement, and pay volunteer hours that they contribute to the economy. Sadly, that does not apply to the crew of this show.
I don't get paid either, Jen. Deal with it.
Okay, I'm trying to. The sharing economy is defined best by the company chief of the people who share. The sharing company is a socioeconomic ecosystem built around the sharing of human, physical, and intellectual resources. It includes the shared creation, production, distribution, trade, and consumption of goods and services by different people and organizations. In millennial terms, I mean layman's terms, we exchange our own services directly. This method eliminates the middle person, thus decreasing the cost to consumer goods. According to Laura Shin, author of the Millennial Game Plan, people between 18 and 34 grew up with the internet and are more active in the sharing economy than older users since they're more comfortable interacting with strangers. Millennials are more comfortable working with multiple part-time jobs to have a full-time schedule. This way of work comes with a social media savvy generation. Although a full-time job is hard to come by, the sharing economy provides many flexible jobs such as Postmate drivers and Airbnb owners. Now, nobody wants to be an Uber driver, especially for dumb, drunk college kids begging you to blast Queen Bee or Drizzy Drake. But it can help people in the short term. The sharing economy is primarily used as a source of secondary income. In other words, the sharing economy is how millennials gain an essential income to afford daily necessities. Despite all the challenges, millennials have been noticeably optimistic about moving up in their field, many of them being confident that they will improve their standard of living. Because millennials honestly think that small raise will make a difference. You go again, Coco, get that 50-cent raise. Whereas those who went through more frugal times took less financial risks and continue to keep those conservative habits. Mike Rugnetta of PBS Ideas analyzed why exactly millennials have been the scapegoats for not just economic but all social-related issues in our current world. The younger generation is always blamed for ruining past traditions. However, we may have to abandon previous practices to create our own successes. The future economy depends on millennials' initiative and creativity to compete in a global market, as millennials bring constant feedback from customers, manage brands by direct connection through social media, and improve brand names as necessary. This is how millennials drive the economy as consumers. Now, there is no easy fix to the economic crisis, but there has been progress, even if it seems little. Inflation continues to stay under the Federal Reserve's goal of 2%. Wage growth has gone up at least 3%, with average hourly earnings of $25.73. Now, this was due to all the generations working together for the good of the economy. Well, that's all the time we have for today, 49ers. Remember that even though this extra work kinda sucks, especially for free,
We're on TV. I can get another host.
it's the only way to make progress. But for now, we'll see you next time on Late Night Long Beach. Now I gotta rush to my real job.